him out. 2 balls and a strike to count on Taylor. Reyes fires, swinging a drive, deep left field. It's his way back. Welcome up. Let's Taylor.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome into DodgerHeads, presented by DodgerBlue.com. My name is Scott Geirman, senior staff writer, Dodger Blue. I'm here with my good buddy, Blake Williams, managing editor, one of the hardest working people I know. How we doing, buddy?
Doing okay. Just trying to stay dry out here. It was pouring today. I don't know how it was over by you, but there's a lot of water today. So yeah, just trying to stay indoors and, keep up with the Dodger news.
I had to do everything but stay indoors earlier, Blake. I was out with a very ferocious kid who wanted to run and jump in all the puddles outside, run in the rain. Guess who was out there with her? In sweats, not rainproof clothes, me. That was me.
Sounds good.
Yeah, it was a hell of a time. Welcome in, everybody. Appreciate you joining in. Do us a favor, hit that like, subscribe, ring that notification bell. We are presented by the Blue Wire Sports or Blue Wire Podcast Network. We're also a medium large sports network. We appreciate you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome in. We've got a good show tonight. We're getting ramped up for spring training. A lot of fun stuff to get into here. Getting the pulse ready for the season, getting the pulse ready for spring training. Stuff just got ramped up here, Blake. Are you pleased with the vibes that are coming out of spring training so far? Pitchers and catchers reporting. A lot of position players there so far. What are you kind of seeing early on, Blake?
Yeah, it seems good so far. The vibes are still high. I mean, they're still the World Series champions, and they're going to be for at least the next year or so, basically. So, yeah, it's fun to see them out there. I've seen Blake Snell really excited. It seems like he's posting on Instagram every day about how excited and grateful he is to be a Dodger. It was nice to see a lot of position players report early to spring training. There's a lot of guys out there getting work early before they were supposed to report there, so it's been good to see.
Yeah, I see the same thing. I mean, and chat's picking up on it too. We're going to let everybody trickle in here. I'm seeing the same stuff. Vibes are insanely high. You're getting to see this cohesiveness start early on. You're seeing some fired up, players. You can see it in videos, quotes, just like you said. Players are very, they're open about their feeling of, loving where they're at right now. I'm very happy that Roki Sasaki looks like he's fitting in right there. Everything just, I'm not going to say it's working out too well so far, but from what we are seeing, and there's a lot of media out there, which I love it. It can't go any better than it is right now. Clayton Kershaw, we'll start that on. What'd you have? You have something? What else could be better about this?
I was just thinking, you said a lot of media out there, and I'm wondering if it's going to be worse than last year or similar, because there was so much last year, and then they went out and did so much more with Roki and Tanner Scott and Blake Snell and everyone. So yeah, it could be pretty busy this year somehow, more than last year.
Oh, so what's up, Clan? Good to see you. Blake, I think it's gonna be worse. As far as just the sheer volume, it's gonna be worse. Now I know that's you're gonna be showing up early and leaving late, big lunch pail guy, first in, last out, quicker than fast for Blake Williams here. Yeah, it's gonna be a lot. It's gonna be exciting. Are you not excited?
I am excited, but also slightly dreading it because it does mean a ton more work and constantly doing stuff. It gets very busy during the season. So yes, I'm excited to see the Dodgers play with the team they have and everything. Not as excited about everything that comes with it.
I got to ask you, and you're probably not, you're the only one I've got on screen right now here with me. Seeing Walker Buehler in a Red Sox uniform, throwing a pen, was that, I'm not going to say, oh, did it hurt you? Because you're not going to say that, but was it weird to you at all?
Not really. I mean, I think if Buehler was pitching like the last 2 years with the Dodgers and not out so long with the injury, I think it would have been different. But seeing him only pitch 50 innings in the regular season or whatever, and then 15 total in the playoffs, it wasn't as bad as if he was pitching 200 innings the last few years and didn't have the injuries. So I think him being away for so long from the team kind of helped prepare that a little more. But yeah, I mean, I think the weirdest one for me was probably Seager, just because he was my guy. I didn't want to see him go. Buehler, I was more indifferent about, as the chat knows. So yeah, I mean, I think just him being away for a while helped like not make it as weird.
I totally get that. I understand you. I know where you come from. I just had to. That was the first thing into my mind when I started getting my spring training stuff ramped up. There, is looking around and seeing Walker Buehler posts about it. But let's get on into it, guys. We've got Clayton Kershaw to chat here, and the news announced. This was today. Was this official today? I believe it was today. Yes, Clayton Kershaw officially re-signs with the Dodgers on a 1-year, $7.5 million contract. The corresponding move there, River Ryan was moved to the 60-day IL. The money lined up good for you, Blake. The $7.5 million for Clayton Kershaw sound good to you?
Yeah, I mean that's less than what they paid James Paxton last year, and what most of the 1-year starting pitchers get, and you get a lot more upside with Kershaw. I mean, we'll see if he comes back fully to form and can get back on track, but I mean, 7.5 million is really good value for a good starting pitcher. He also has incentives in his deal, 1 million for each of 13, 14, 15, and 16 games started. So that's an extra 4 million there he could make. And then 2.5 million if he's on the active roster for 30 days, 1 million for 60 days, and 1 million for 90 days. So there's another 4.5 million there. So it can get up there and kind of takes away some of that like great team friendly value, but it's still a solid deal, and you don't really mind that because if he reaches all those incentives, it means he's probably doing well.
For the off-season surgeries that he had a knee issue fixed. He had something with his foot. With those incentives, that contract, that money, I think that makes sense. I saw some people questioning. Matty Man says, I can't believe Kershaw got only $7.5 million. Do you think some of those concerns or that off-season work played into a little bit of that, why he didn't get more? Or this is just, what the Dodgers see? This is their valuation of kind of where, Kershaw, who will turn 37 in March, this is where he's at.
I don't think it's really about any of that. I think the Dodgers just love those incentive contracts because if Kershaw doesn't do anything this year or makes like 10 starts, he's getting 7.5 million. If he's a productive member of the team and reaches all his incentives, it's a $16.5 million deal. Yep. So like it ranges from 7.5 to 16.5 depending on how he does, and he could be somewhere in the middle there. So even though like the base salary is 7.5 million and it seems low, probably not going to be that low when it's all said and done. And if he performs, he's going to get paid more. If he doesn't perform, then he probably got overpaid. So it's a thing where the Dodgers, it benefits them. Kershaw, if he's healthy, it's going to benefit him. And that's just kind of how it works out for both sides there.
Longest tenured Dodger on this current group here. Next, he's right ahead of Austin Barnes, Chris Taylor there, who enters his 10th season. So that one was surprising. Chris Taylor's 10th season with the Dodgers. But for Clayton Kershaw here, he's just 32 strikeouts away from 3,000. When is kind of the projected date for Kershaw to be, in the rotation there? Are there any lingering effects? Is he going to be hitting the ground running right away?
There's lingering effects there. He's not going to start the season on the rotation. He might go on the 60-day IL depending on how he's doing. So you're probably looking at more like second half contributions, if not a little earlier, maybe in that Ohtani timeline of like May or a little after that. So like it's more of a depth signing for this team who he can eventually come in and take over than like you're plugging him into the rotation right now, or he might just need a week and he could be ready for the start of the domestic home opener. But yeah, it's going to be a little down the line for Kershaw.
Is there any player that would re-sign with the Dodgers like this that just feels like home? When you hear Clayton Kershaw, it just goes hand in hand with the Los Angeles Dodgers. Was this a necessary box for you to check here for the Los Angeles Dodgers for this team? Like if there was a spot, you just had to make it happen, because that's how I saw it. I was like, if it's there, you just have to do it. And just like you said, in any capacity, offer him that contract. He pitches, he hits incentives, he gets paid like, solid market value for a 37-year-old pitcher. I just wasn't prepared to let him go. I'm just not prepared to let him go yet, Blake.
I mean, he wasn't going anywhere regardless. I think he probably would have even signed a minor league deal with the Dodgers if they didn't want him, and that's all they were willing to do. Like he said it today he did an interview with the media, and he basically said, like, I considered the Rangers in the past, but now, like, that's not even on my mind anymore. I'm a Dodger for life. It's special to be with one team for your whole career. Like, I'm not going anywhere. This is where I am. I'm a Dodger. So,
yeah,
like, he wasn't going anywhere regardless. So it just made all the sense for them to get a deal done, and it's pretty fair for both sides.
Yeah, and I see, BC bringing up, I want to put these numbers up here. I'll take BC's word for this here, but he says before this past year, in 2024, Kershaw only made 7 starts in the regular season. There went 2-2, 4.5 ERA, 3.53 FIP, 1.5 WHIP. So nothing stellar about that. But like BC says here, I won't have to fact check this. I'll just take his word for it here. He says 2.75 ERA in 3 straight seasons after the 2.16 in 2020. So just a very productive pitcher. But Blake, like we've talked about for a couple years, the stuff trend has trended down. You could see his body start to catch up with him there. It's hindered him from reaching kind of that peak performance where you can rely, on 22 and a lot of what he's done. And you could say, the stuff's going to play. But as a lot of what the conversation has been pushed to is the body going to hold up? Because we know he's going to go out there and he's going to compete. I don't know if Clint's still here, but I love his compete. I love Clayton Kershaw's compete no matter what. He's going to pitch. He's going to, do a hell of a job and whatever he can. But his body has been the thing that's been holding him back.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he started dealing with those injuries like after those few seasons where he's just a workhorse for the team, throwing 200 plus innings every single year. Then he started dealing with the back issues, and seems he's kind of over that now. But then he got the shoulder issue and then the foot issue. So it's been tough to see. It's hard to watch that because he's been so consistent throughout his whole career. He's never had Tommy John or anything, which is like a rarity in today's game. So for him to start dealing with stuff like that, like, it's what happens in baseball, unfortunately, or else he could probably play till he was 50 because he's just that good. But yeah, his body is breaking down a bit, and he's probably going to have to retire here pretty soon, but it's nice to see him back for another year at least.
Yeah, I'm not going to ask you for predictions on Clayton Kershaw as far as workload. I don't need to hear about ERA. But I'll take a look, off stream, look at those incentives if they're posted, what thresholds he has to hit here. But I think this is, regardless, even if it wasn't a need, Clayton Kershaw's back, but I'm purely speaking to opportunity and a runway for him to be a productive pitcher, to have the time to get to make the start so he can get in a groove. Clayton Kershaw is not a guy where it's just going to be, we'll find starts where you can. I'm sure he wants to, once he's in the rotation, get in the rotation, get on his routine because that's who he is. But with Tony Gonsolin, Dustin May, you're having Shohei Ohtani still working his way up here. There are guys who it's going to take some time for them to get in that, kind of that groove in that 6-man rotation. You're going to need to cycle these guys in. So for Clayton Kershaw coming off season surgeries here, he's getting up there in age. I love it. I think this is good for where he's at. I think it's good for him to be on this timeline, just like a number of pitchers. He fits right into what the Dodgers have cooking here.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just an embarrassment of riches for this team. Kershaw is just another one like that. Like, we're talking about him as probably the 6th or 7th best starter on this team, and he'd probably be at least the 3rd best and probably the 2nd best on every other team in baseball. So it's just, they have so many good, talented pitchers. Adding another one makes sense for them. And yeah, we'll see. Hopefully they can all stay healthy this year, or at least enough to get through the season, unlike last year.
Yeah, no doubt, man. Again, everybody chat, I appreciate you. Then Blake and I definitely appreciate you being here. Shout out to the 700 across all social media. Like, subscribe, share this around. Just hanging out, chatting ball tonight. I've got a couple super chats here. I'm going to go 300. I'm going to get to yours in just a second here. It's going to lead us right into one of our segments, but I want to put this one up here from Freedom. We appreciate you. He says, cannot wait for Dodger baseball. Me neither. Me neither. This offseason stuff, this slow part of it, Dodgers had a flurry of stuff early on. So for me, it's been like, man, let's just get the show on the road, see how they perform. He says, cannot wait for Dodger baseball. This could be one of the best teams since Gibby in 1988. Scary strong lineup, both pitching and hitting, or offensive hitting power. I believe blue for 70 years. Damn. That's a hell of a good time. It's a lot of fun.
A lot of pain with this team.
A lot of pain in there. Yeah. A lot of pain in between there. Freedom, I'd love to know of the stuff you've seen, what has been your favorite season? That's something I would appreciate you putting in chat there. Probably could spark a good debate in chat or just some good conversation there. What was your favorite team? I know a lot of people with the stuntmen, going back to the, late 1980s there, 88, Gibby, stuff like that. I know for me, I mean, I've had favorite teams, since I've been alive. I'm 32. Had favorite teams. This last year was my most favorite one. storylines, how stuff played out. It just all felt like it was lining up right after the All-Star break. And that's the earliest I've ever seen a team where you're like, they're gelling. We know they're talented, but it just looked like when things line up, you're not stopping them. What are you giggling about?
It took you to the All-Star break to decide that? Man, I said that in spring training they were going to win the World Series. You're a little behind here.
I'm not a little behind. We were going into the All-Star break saying like this bench sucks. This is terrible. Are you kidding me? Like
yeah, it didn't matter. Like they just had to get through it. We kept saying that too. Just be patient.
Yeah, after the All-Star break, after the deadline, that was the deadline. So you saying that early on, that was just sure. But it was like it started to get blown up like midway, like not blown up, but it started to get bumpy going into that. We're like some stuff has to get going. Things got to click green with the front office making the moves. We cooked last year, Blake. But as far as like it had to hit mid-year, get through the deadline, and then you're like, they've got the pieces. Just got to get healthy. Yeah, man. Here we go again. Chat flaming me again. This is insane. This is nuts. He says Scott was there when the Dodgers moved from Brooklyn to LA. Insane. Oh my God. Ira says Scott cried the day that they switched names from bridegrooms. Oh my God. That's it.
No, we're putting this one too.
Short stream today, I guess. Very short stream. All right. 300. This one's for you, man. Thank you. He says, with the news of Kopech and Evan Phillips possibly being on the shelf, do the Dodgers go out and get another reliever like Brazier? Goes right in here. Evan Phillips and Michael Kopech delayed by injuries. Take it where you want, like how it is. What was the most shocking part about this? And then we can wrap it up. We can go straight into what we both saw, how it played out with the offseason signings.
Well, if you want me to say the most shocking thing, I think it's that we lasted until February 10th until injury news started coming out, and we didn't get too much beforehand besides for Kopech potentially being injured. But then Brandon Gomes downplayed that during the Roki Sasaki press conference, but seems to be true. So yeah, the expectation is probably both of them are going to be delayed for the start of the season in Tokyo and potentially longer, just how these things go. Evan Phillips is recovering from shoulder injury and some nerve sensitivity. So we'll see how that goes. He wasn't supposed to be injured this year. Like he expected it to clean up right after the World Series, but he received the PRP injection and things are progressing for what they said, but still not ready. So it is concerning because they thought it would be a shorter term thing and it's still lingering to this point. And then with Michael Kopech, he has the right forearm inflammation, which is never something you want to hear. But Brandon Gomes did say he's still playing catch and throwing. So that's at least encouraging. But yeah, you never want to hear forearm inflammation because a lot of times that does lead to Tommy John surgery. Not always, but pretty significant amount of the time that is like the precursor to Tommy John. So it's not great that the Dodgers have both these guys on the shelf already. The good thing is they have a very deep bullpen. And this is kind of like what I was also talking about when they signed Kirby Yates and everyone was like, Ryan Brazier's the odd man out now. Like, yes, he was, but you still could have fit him onto the team because injuries happen, especially to pitchers, and these things work themselves out. Like one day you're talking about how they have too many arms, and the next day you're talking about who's going to be the last man in the bullpen because you don't have enough guys. So it was a little disappointing they got rid of Brazier. I think it kind of opened up a move for a long reliever, like probably Michael Grove type guy in there, or maybe Dustin May slides into the bullpen. But yeah, these are two really good pitchers that are injured. So hopefully it's not too long.
I'm annoyed you're not giving Benny Caps any love, man.
I think they want to develop him as a starting pitcher more. So I don't think they're just going to put him in the bullpen. I think he'll start out in AAA and stay stretched out.
He's an impact player, Blake. I don't know how you want to dice it, but I need you to figure out, like tonight, like before midnight, I need you to have a 10-point plan of how Ben Kasparius is going to make his way onto the major league roster. I don't care how you do it.
As a starting pitcher at some point. It means just because you're not on the roster, it doesn't mean like they think less of you than someone else. It's they want him to continue making starts and developing and stay stretched out because starters are more impactful than relievers, instead of just putting him in the bullpen and potentially losing that value of what he could eventually be. like they think higher of Kasperius than they do of Michael Grove, which is why they keep him in AAA to keep working and developing instead of being the last man in the bullpen.
Yeah. Back to Evan Phillips, to what he said, Evan Phillips believed that if he had the luxury of some time that he would have been able to pitch in the World Series, but it was just because it's, consecutive series here, no time really in between the championship series or any postseason series at that. Does that make you a little bit more optimistic, or that's just him saying, I would have pitched? It doesn't matter what the team says. He would have made it work. He would have tried to make it happen no matter what. Because if people are trying to find the silver lining that, it might not be that big of a thing, the Dodgers are going to play it safe with Evan Phillips. They're not going to rush him at all. How do you kind of see that just from his words? Evan Phillips saying if he had some more time, he would have been available. Where does that give you any more optimism that he's not going to miss as much time? Or does that make you think that that's why, the Dodgers understanding that it's going to be not a longer term thing, but an injury they've got to keep an eye out on. And that's why they were so aggressive in the post or in the offseason with bullpen stuff.
I feel like it makes me less optimistic that he was saying that, because now it's been 3 months and he's still dealing with it. Like if they said it was going to be a longer term injury and we're still waiting on it because we expected him to be out this long, like that makes sense to me. With them saying he could be back for the World Series type thing, and then now he's still dealing with it in February, that brings in concern to me. I think he probably would have pitched through it in the playoffs if he was even available at all, because like all these guys were putting their bodies on the line. Like Freddie Freeman was playing through his busted ankle, and Shohei Ohtani dealt with his shoulder injury, and there's just so many players dealing with things. Like Miguel Rojas had his injury. So I think he would have pushed through it. I think the Dodgers are also probably being very cautious with him at this point, because that's what they do with their injuries. When a guy's dealing with something, they're not going to want to push him, especially at this point in spring training. So I do think it's a bit of like a mix of all that. Like Evan Phillips would have pushed through it. The Dodgers are being cautious with him, and it's still a little concerning that he's dealing with it at the same time.
Yeah, I agree. And so, I want to go off on the Tanner Scott thing. Was that a move independent, from maybe some injury concerns there? Is this purely just the offseason plan of Tanner Scott's out there, he's available, we kind of need another back end guy? Just, even if all things considered, he was available, the money was available, that was just a move independent from any pressure that we've got to supplement the bullpen? Or do you think there was some push there?
I don't think it was connected significantly. I think it might have been in the back of their mind, like we might have a reliever or two out to start the year.
Mm-hmm.
But I think it was Friedman, it might have been Gomes who said it. After Tanner Scott signed, they said, like, this is a guy we've been trying to get for quite some time now. They've wanted him. They tried to get him at the trade deadline. So I think it was more about the opportunity of him being available, them having the money and the resources to do it, and it lining up. And they say, like, we can improve our team a ton by doing this, and it might protect us against other injuries that we're dealing with. I think that was more their focus than saying, like, we need to go get a reliever because these guys are hurt. We know the Dodgers can find guys in their bullpen and make things work.
Yes.
Like they could have signed a lesser player, or just sign Kirby Yates or something, or even Kenley Jansen, who is a pretty popular name for a while on the free agent market, because we didn't expect the Dodgers to spend big necessarily in the bullpen. So I really think it was just about, like, they saw a guy that they really wanted. They had the ability to get him, so they did it.
Like, there's, people talking about that, the same thing. Dodgers could have gone out there and found some reliever they could have tweaked, and there was somebody on another team, another, a young guy they could have brought up. They have the players with the stuff to be able to do it. But that's why I asked about Ben Kasperius. I wanted to get your feel on that, because we have seen him produce out of the bullpen. We have seen Edgardo Enriquez come in and, have some runway there. But it's a matter of the Dodgers want to develop these kids the right way. They want to develop them how maybe that A plan was, the original plan. You don't want to force anything if you just don't have to. You know what I mean? And I think that's where your thinking is at as well. You can get somebody in here where you don't have to change their routine. They are a reliever who's had that, success at the major league level. And you don't have to force some of these young prospects and just say, hey, we need bullpen. You're going to just reduce your stuff. I know you've been stretched out. You've been a starter. go ahead and, even, Edgardo Enriquez, I think he was throwing down multi-inning stuff in the minor leagues here. So it's just a matter of, I think the Dodgers are just understanding we can let them develop, bring in some veteran arms where you don't have to change the routine up and not it shortens careers. Becoming a bullpen guy shortens careers. That's just flat out how it goes. You become a role where you're very volatile year to year. You don't have the ability to knock down innings. And I respect that from the Dodgers. If they're just going ahead and saying we can go out, pay some guys, they're already successful bullpen pieces here. Let the young kids develop, let them get to the spot where this timeline we've had them, early on. We've got some super chats here and another couple ones. Stay with us, everybody. We're going to double back on some Kershaw stuff here. 300 says, if Kershaw gives us 10 to 12 good starts, I'm good. That's 5 more, potentially 3 to 5 more than he did last year, Blake. Is that okay with you? It just depends. If they need the production, if they need the innings, then it's just a matter of, are you okay with that? I'm sure I'd be okay with him just signing what he did just now and never appearing. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, I think for me, it depends on when that happens. Like, if he's starting playoff games for you, something probably went wrong with the rest of your rotation, because I don't think he's going to surpass Blake Snell, Yamamoto, Ohtani, Glasnow, Sasaki as playoff starters, even if he is healthy. So if he's starting there, wouldn't be the worst thing, but you have an injury probably somewhere else that's going to hurt the team. If he comes in for like the middle of the year and he's making his 10 to 12 starts there when the Dodgers need pitchers and everything, like, I'm very happy with that. That would be fantastic. I think Kershaw wants to make his 20 starts and pitch in the postseason. Like, that's his goal. But yeah, I'd be fine with 10 to 12 and just be good with that.
Talk about Kershaw in the postseason when that time comes. Not prepared to talk about it yet. All right, Laura.
Take that the Dodgers are making the postseason from Scott.
No. I'm saying, yeah. When that time comes, I'm saying Kershaw appearing in the postseason. That's more what I'm talking about, because then, just like you said, it's like, where does he fit? It's dire straits, I would say, or he's pitching at just an unbelievable level, and how can you not? So we hope with both, go from there.
Real quick, we should do this super chat first, because it's bullpen related, and then that'll bring us to the other topic.
Todd Garman says, Scott's looking grizzled today. Yeah, thanks, Todd. I was going to shave right before I hopped in, but I just let it eat. So Scott looking grizzled today. They are slow tracking Phillips and Kopech, in my opinion. So we have bullpen room for extra starters. Agree. I'll bet they could be safely ready for opening day otherwise. You push back on this at all?
There's probably some truth to it. I think if they had like any injury at all, the Dodgers would be cautious with them and not necessarily like make it about the roster issue. We've seen them play around with the injured list quite a lot to make room for guys. So I think there are real injury concerns there. Like, we know Phillips had his injury. We know it was reported that Kopech had an injury. So I think there's something there. This is definitely the optimistic way of looking at it. And maybe it's something they could do, but MLB does keep like a close eye on injury moves and stuff like that. So you can't just put a guy on the IL for a made up reason, essentially. Like, there has to be something there. And if the Dodgers got investigated for faking injuries or anything, they could get in quite a bit of trouble. So yeah, I don't think it's like them just trying to make room for more relievers. I think it really is about them having injuries.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Laura tosses this one up here. Says Dave announced Sasaki will pitch in Japan. I get it, but I think Blake Snell should get the ball. Thoughts on this? I think I'm okay with it. I'm pretty good with it. It's a big, of course, like, he might be ready to go. Could be some marketing. Could be just the draw of the crowd. Yeah. Where are you at here?
Yeah, I don't have a problem with it. I think Snell will probably pitch in one of the exhibition games at some point, like the two they have before, I'd guess, and then probably start the home opener. I think, like we saw last year, Yamamoto got the ball and he just wasn't ready to go, so didn't work out in Korea there for him. And Glasnow was kind of like hit or miss that start. I think he went 5 innings and gave up 4 or something, if I remember right. It's been a while, so someone can fact check me there. But yeah, I mean, they're going to Japan. They're playing in Tokyo. It makes sense to let the fans see Sasaki and Yamamoto in their country again. The Dodgers are like, they want to make Japan part of their market, which they already have. So it's cool for the fans there that they get to see Sasaki and Yamamoto again. Well, I guess We didn't even talk about Yamamoto was also announced. So yeah, Dave Roberts announced Sasaki and Yamamoto are likely to pitch there. So yeah, I think it's cool for baseball. The series is more of a marketing thing than anything. Like,
Definitely.
if players wouldn't necessarily go there if they had a choice, it's about MLB wanting to increase fans around the globe. Like, they played in London, they've played in the Dominican, they've had the Korea series that the Dodgers were part of. They've played in Australia before. The Dodgers were part of that. I think it was 2014.
Yep,
So
I remember that.
like, yeah, I think Trent Olston played in that one. He was from Australia. So yeah, I mean, it's good for the fans there. It's the main thing there. It's not like about the Dodgers putting Sasaki over Snell in their rotation or anything like that.
Yeah, definitely. It also helps when, when you're getting two arms, you're not just doing it one for marketing and then the option stinks. We're talking about Yoshinobu Yamamoto and Roki Sasaki going out there. Pretty two damn good options for me, Blake. So to what you said about Tyler Glasnow, he went 5 innings, allowed 2 earned. He was dealing. Didn't have strikeout stuff, just 3 Ks, walk 4. But yeah, I mean,
That's what it was, the walks I was thinking.
yeah, it's just a matter of it. Also, if you're ready to go, like that a lot of that. They've got some time. They're going to get stretched out. They're going to be ready to go. Stuff looks sharp. I know Austin Barnes had some unbelievable quotes, from Roki Sasaki in reference to his splitter, talking about like it's a pitch he's never seen before. So I'm excited, Blake. Like, it's the options that you're getting there. They're A1 from a marketing standpoint and A1 from a absolute performance standpoint. I'm excited to see Roki Sasaki on the mound competing against the best. He's in an environment now. He's in the building. I mean, I have no problem with it. I don't think anybody should either. Blake Snell, domestic home opener, and go from there. I've seen quotes about Blake Snell wanting to be like a workhorse. How that is, how much he's doing that, how many innings he takes down remains to be seen. How much the Dodgers want to allow him to do that remains to be seen. But they've just got options. They've got guys that are ready to go to take the ball. And it's I'm not going to say it's been a long time, Blake, since we've had a full stable, because this is the best rotation we've probably ever seen. But this is a bunch of arms where everybody wants to take the ball. And at any given night, you could see ace level stuff. So it's a very unique feeling that I've got going on right now, looking at every option, every night, every matchup.
Yeah, for sure. Like, there's not going to be a bad pitching matchup with the Dodgers this year, unless things go very, very poorly, like worse than last year. So it doesn't really matter what order or choices they go with these guys. It just makes sense to have Roki and Yoshinobu pitch in Japan.
Yeah, definitely. All right, let's see here. See some good comments here. I want to bring this one up here because Cole brings it up. He says, let's give Snell a full off season. We don't want to see a slow start like he had in San Francisco. Yeah, Blake Snell, that was because he signed fairly late, basically smack dab up against spring training reporting, correct? Like same type of thing like Alex Bregman just had. So didn't have the entire time to get ramped up, had the slow start, and then passed, I think it was his last 80 innings were just unbelievable. Just unbelievable, ridiculous stuff. I'd love to pull up the number here. I'm not on this page exactly, but what's kind of your expectation of Blake Snell, heading into the season?
He's going to lead the pitching staff, be the ace of the team, which is high expectations there. But yeah, I said it a lot. I think he's the best starter in this rotation. I think he'll compete for a Cy Young award this year. I think we'll see more consistency from him. Like, he didn't have that in the first half and dealt with injuries. If he stays healthy, there's not many starting pitchers in baseball who are better than him. If there are even like 5 that are better, I would probably doubt that. Like, you have Paul Skeens for sure, and then probably a toss-up from there. So, yeah, this is the guy who is among the best pitchers in baseball, and I expect him to be among the best.
To what I just said, his last 14 starts of the year. So this is from July 9th on. His last 80 in the third innings, he posted a 1.23 ERA, a 1.77 FIP, a 2.65 expected FIP, just and a 12.77 K per 9, 3.36 walk 9. We know now that Blake Snell strategically uses the walk to set up success, and nobody should be like spinning your head hearing that. That's what he does. He's one of the most proficient pitchers in Major League Baseball of not giving a hitter a mistake pitch just to get a strike. He will put a runner on to set up for the next at bat and then work his way around it there. And that's just flat out dominance. That's belief in yourself. That is confidence that his stuff is just purely better. And I'm very happy that those are numbers that we got to see, Blake, and break it down, because I think I was talking to you when I think we were on Discord late, and I was just like, this dude, this is what he does. Like, this is exactly how he pitches. He just does not relent. He'd rather put you on and completely avoid, that big pitch that's going to give up a lot of slug.
Yeah, I mean, it's a strategy that hasn't been very popular in baseball for a long time because, like, older school pitchers have always wanted to avoid the walks, like, more than they've wanted strikeouts or more than anything else, or even giving up hits is like seen as better than walking guys. But I think the game's evolving, and Snell is like leading that pack of walks aren't so bad if you're still dominant the rest of the time and you're not giving up homers and extra base hits. So yeah, it's a really interesting strategy. And seems like the Dodgers might have followed that a little bit with Kirby Yates and
correct
Tanner Scott being some of those guys as well. So yeah, it's fun to see that they're going to have a lot of strikeout pitchers in the bullpen and in their rotation, because it's been quite a while since they've had just dominant pitchers like this. And I'm looking forward to that.
I saw a segment, I think it was on MLB Network, but it was about the Dodgers embracing like the 3 true outcome of pitching, that it's going to be strikeout, walk, and I don't know if it was the other one. I'm not going to say homer because, if that's just not what it does. Blake Snell just doesn't give up homers. In those last 80 innings, he allowed 0.22 home runs per 9. So we're talking 2 home runs over 80 and a third, guys. Like, that's elite. Like, he'll do whatever it takes to keep the ball out of, hittable locations and hunt the strikeout, because then there's no movement there. Keep the ball in front, catcher, no movement around, just carve your way through it. And to what you said about Kirby Yates, yes, I echoed those same things. I looked right into his stuff, and our chat's smart. You guys remember everything. That's a lot of the reason why I wanted him too. Big swing and miss stuff. His fastball's not insane from a metric standpoint. He just sequences, has an unbelievable splitter, and just makes it work, man. He just makes it work. So this might be right in front of us. You're going to see these consistencies from the pitching staff. When a player is proficient at this stuff, when a pitcher is proficient at this stuff, you're going to see him brought in. See, you're getting some love for your hat today. Thoughts?
Yeah, I got this one at Dodger Stadium during the World Series Game 1, and I haven't seen it anywhere else. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of it.
Aaron says Blake Snell will easily be a fan favorite. I agree, man. I agree. Fans gravitate to these players that are super laid back, just love with what's going on there. They're open with the media. They express a joy. I agree with that too. You've seen that as well.
Yeah, I feel like fans have gravitated toward pretty much every player on the roster. Like, there's no one really on this team that people really hate. I think Chris Taylor gets a lot of hate because of his play recently, but for a long time he was a fan favorite, and there's still a big section of Dodger fans that love him. So, like, if he is the most hated one, like, it's a pretty loved team overall.
Yeah. If you're a fan of a ball, like any sports team, you'll have a player that might not be the best, but you love him for some reason. The Patriots got a lot of those. I'm a Titans fan. We stink. I've players that I like just because they're cool. Just not necessarily means they're good. Yeah. Just like Joey Gallo. You loved him. He stunk. Congrats today. He got signed. He's with the White Sox. Is that right?
Yeah, he's rejoining Miguel Vargas and Nick Nastrini, and I think they got someone else from the Dodgers. Some other minor leaguers.
Absolute dynamic duo, Miguel Vargas and Joey Gallo. How does that sound?
Miggy V gets on. Gallo brings him home with a homer. It's going to work out perfectly there.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Chad agrees with us. We're cooking with the Blake Snell stuff. You ever think that would be a thing? I think people hated Blake Snell for a long time. They just didn't. That's watching him dominate from afar. I think so.
Yeah. I mean, it's always going to happen. It's like fans hate players who are good on teams that they don't like, and then if they join your team, you love them. So, yeah, not surprised.
Here we go. Hold on. Bear with me. Sasha and Savisha says Scott and Blake should be DodgerHeads opening day starters. Yeah.
I mean, it'd be
Let's
great.
cook. We're cooking. All right. Rich says this year will be worse than last. 21 bobblehead games. It's a lot, man. Says heavier traffic, more fans in attendance, longer lines for food that is overpriced and mediocre. Rich, man, you're cooking. Break this down, Blake. You've got thoughts on the food, the traffic, fans.
Well, the good news for longer lines for the food there is that you might be more inclined to avoid it. Eat before you go, bring your own food, do something. Dodger Stadium food, not good, overpriced, and mediocre, like you said. So yeah, don't worry about that. More fans in attendance. I don't know. Are they going to hit the 4 million mark this year? The hope was that they'd get there last year and they fell short, but yeah, maybe it happens this year. A few more sellouts here and there. Traffic, I guess that comes with the more fans, but it's always a mess there, regardless of how many fans are there. It seems like you're going to be waiting a half hour to an hour in the parking lot to leave, anyways. And I think a lot of people are happy about the 21 bobbleheads, and I think they'd probably want more if they had a choice.
We have friends that locked in like $125, $130 tickets, and they were like, "This is the best. We got a deal."
Yeah.
That's crazy.
They're a lot. They're expensive this year, especially some of those like the Ohtani ones, the Roki.
Mhm.
Those are going to go for a lot.
$130, Blake. $130. Freddie Freeman bobblehead night. Stuff like that.
Like
People
top
are
deck,
juiced.
were seats there.
I sat top deck during the Mets Dodgers playoffs. Was that 2015? 2015. I remember sitting up there for the Utley slide, top deck, and I felt like I was going to fall off the stadium. That's how high up that is. And
yeah, I sat up there for the World Baseball Classic. I think it was like 2008 or something when they played Japan. No, I think it was later. They played also, maybe 2007 again, because they did it every 3 or 4 years. But it was around that time, and I sat top deck up there. And yeah, every step you take down, it feels like you're dropping off a cliff. It's terrifying up there. Respect to the fans who sit up there.
Yeah, shout out to the fans. Shout out to top deck people, man. Like you guys are locked in. I can't do it. I can't do that. I mean, I've got great vision. That shout out to LASIK, but I love one thing I love about top deck. You see everything. The only thing that I don't like, I mean, you can see like when like stuff's gonna fall, like hits are gonna fall, and I like that. Like as a ball knower, as a ball fan, I like being able to like off the bat, you're already standing up, clapping. Like I'm that guy. You've been to a baseball game with me. I'm chirping.
Yeah.
I'll be sitting as far away as can be, and I'm chirping from my seat.
Scott's in the far like left or right corner of reserve. Like, what's that called? Blue? That's a strike.
Yeah. What do you got, kid? What do you got? NS says I have a fear of heights. No chance. I love heights. If I wasn't a father, I'd be skydiving regularly. I love heights. My goodness. Yeah. I'm just like for everybody else outside. You guys think I'm like 1,000 years old. You guys are nuts. You guys kill me. It's the best. Absolute best. Let's see here. Man, top deck has a great view for sure. Yeah. Like we said, shout out to the top deck people, man. You guys are built different. Absolutely built different. Let's see. We have one more segment. We have two. We're just yapping. We're just yapping tonight. Shohei Ohtani. He's going to throw a bullpen session. And before we get into it, I think Dave Roberts said somewhere that he thinks Shohei Ohtani can be touching 100 miles an hour plus. Pretty sure he said that somewhere.
Yeah, I think he said it at Dodger Fest. He asked, like, are you still confident that Ohtani can hit 100 again after the surgeries? And he said, yeah. I think that's probably a little optimistic on Dave's end there.
Mm-hmm.
Like, everyone knows my take on second elbow surgeries. It's not the best. I think the benefit Shohei has is it is apparently the brace and not like a full Tommy John, which should be helpful there. Although they haven't like fully confirmed that or even said it was Tommy John. It's more like what was kind of reported or believed about it. So hopefully he can get back to that point. I'd like to see it before I fully buy it and believe it. I guess it's hard to count against like Shohei Ohtani because he is the best player in the world and probably the most talented athlete we've ever seen. So like if he's getting there, it wouldn't fully surprise me. I just want to see it before I say like, yeah, he's going to be there. But yeah, the good news is he has a bullpen session scheduled at some point this weekend. It'll be his first time throwing one since the end of the season last year. And that's encouraging because he did have the surgery again. It wasn't on his throwing shoulder this year, it wasn't on his throwing shoulder, but he still had that. So it kind of delayed him a bit there. And Ohtani said it's more about just getting back on the mound and throwing off a sloped surface instead of like him going out there in full intensity or everything. Like he said, he's not sure how intense he's going to make it. So it's just a good step for him to start getting back. And the expectation is he's going to be ready to go in May and potentially a little sooner.
Yeah, and in reference to the shoulder surgery that you said, it's his non-throwing shoulder. It's non-dominant shoulder hitting wise. It's his backside shoulder. So just for everybody, just to remember, it's not Shohei's front side shoulder. So when you think of like shoulder injuries for hitters, you probably Dodgers fans immediately link this to like Matt Kemp, and you got to see like the power get sucked away from his swing for a bit of time. It took him quite a bit of time. We might never have seen the Matt Kemp that we love until like 2018 Kemp. But just so you know, it was bothering him a hell of a lot in the World Series just because it was an injury. It was an injury that needed a surgery to repair it. And to this point, Ohtani's still saying, I just wrote an article about this yesterday, that the shoulder is still giving Ohtani not some trouble. It's just having some lingering effects there. It's going to take some time. He said same thing, just like the elbow. Just got to be patient. You just got to go through it. It's going to take some time. But as far as his status, Blake, bullpen session, the Dodgers had no plans to just keep him completely out just so he could be healthy. He's going to be as a DH to start the season. All good to go there, just so everybody can hear for themselves. Because when you talk about injury, people get kind of scared. He's all good to go otherwise.
Well, the expectation is that he's going to be ready to go. He just started hitting again. Before spring training started, he was taking dry swings, not hitting a baseball, and just swinging the bat. Now the Dodgers recently, I think the first day of spring training, they posted video of him actually hitting a baseball. So it's encouraging, and they're hoping he won't be out for opening day in Tokyo. So that's the expectation, and we'll see how it goes.
Yeah, expectation. Shohei Ohtani be ready for the Tokyo series there. So that would be significant, from eyeball standpoint, fans, and just flat out production there. All right. And I never thought, after we talked about the Yankees, other teams yapping about the Dodgers, and I remember I forgot who wrote the article for us at Dodger Blue about this, covered on this.
I think Sebastian did.
Sebastian did. The catcher Francisco Alvarez from the Mets doubled down on his statements that he believes, of course, he's going to believe that the New York Mets have a better lineup than the Dodgers. I think our chat could have some choice words for that type of line, Blake. But what's your flat out analysis on Francisco Alvarez saying they have a better lineup than the Los Angeles Dodgers?
I think it's closer than most people would give the Mets credit for. I think the Dodgers have the slight edge, but I will say it's slight. And of course, like Francisco Alvarez is going to come out and say, well, we're the second best lineup in baseball. Like, no player's doing that. I'm sure White Sox players would say we think we're the best. Like, that's just how players are. They're not going to say we're bad or anything like that. So then I started looking into some of the projections for both lineups and stuff like that. So Pacoda has the Dodgers. This is their system. So like normally we use weighted runs created plus. That's Fangraph's version. They have DRC plus. So they have the Dodgers at 114 and the Mets at 111. So really close right there. They have the Dodgers at 31.4 wins above replacement player and the Mets at 27.9. Pretty close there as well. Then Fangraphs, they have the Mets with a slight edge in batting war at 33.3 compared to the Dodgers 33. Basically a toss-up right there. And then I took the averages of their first 11 hitters, like projection-wise on the teams. The Dodgers average weighted runs created plus comes out to 121, and the Mets are at 118. The difference is the Dodgers are more top-heavy, and the Mets have a little more depth in their lineup, which kind of surprised me because their 11th hitter is Jeff McNeil, who's projected for 101, and the Dodgers is Chris Taylor, who's at 96. So it's still pretty close all around. The difference is Ohtani and Soto are both like 165. Soto's 166. Betts is 145. Freeman 143. Alonso 126. Lindor 125. So the Dodgers are more top heavy there. Their top hitter overall is basically the same. So they're really close lineups, and I don't really have a problem with Alvarez saying it. Like, he's not going to come out and say that they're not as good.
Yeah. I mean, I understand what you're saying. We know the numbers. players are going to stick up for their team. I think, the Dodgers, not being a homer, Dodgers lineup's more dynamic there. I understand, but the Mets have, some solid platoon options there. I know Jesse Winker is a good platoon option versus righties. Starling Marte comes in there. But we're just talking about the starting nine. As far as Jeff McNeil, major down year last year. Not somebody I really, believe in too much at all. I understand Vientos had a breakout campaign, looked really good. But it's just, Blake, it's this expectation of what Francisco Alvarez is going to say about his team. So I understand what he's doing, what he's talking about. But as what we know, Dodgers top heavy, their first 5, their first 6, you're not going to find a better one. So from that, it just kind of clears it out. And it doesn't really matter. You can't match much up to me.
You know what surprised me, though? Fangraphs, their Zips projections had James Outman at 103 and Tommy Edman at 98. I was surprised they were that high on Outman. I think Edman is probably right around there. That's where he's been for most of his career.
It's split base for sure. It's purely split base just because he's against righties, he's not very good, and versus lefties, he's much better. But yeah, that does surprise me that they have him that low there.
They had Dalton Rushing at 108 also.
That's crazy.
That's pretty surprising for a prospect. Like normally they're projected a bit below league average. That's a high praise from the projection systems for Dalton Rushing there.
Let him cook. Bring him up. Find the at-bats first, then bring him up. That's what I want to see. I want to see players. I want to see prospects who have some runway. I want to give them some time. Like Andy Pies, give him some time. If you got the at-bats, they're going to him. Yeah, for sure. All right. We're going to open this up with some questions here. Chat, it's your time. Oh, I got it, Blake. It's your time. All caps question. Let us know right behind that. Whatever you want to talk about. We'll, let's let Blake cook. Whatever you got. He's fired up tonight. He came with pages of notes. So I was happy about that. He says, probability of Giovanni Gallegos making the opening day roster?
20. And I think it's just because of the injuries.
Mm-hmm.
I think Grove has the edge on him. Maybe some of the other guys on the 40-man, like Dustin May, probably. Yeah. They still got a stacked pitching staff, even with the injuries.
I've got to pull up his stuff there. I got to pull up their entire list and really look at it just to see for myself here. Because that's a guy where he's just going to flat out have to pitch his way onto the roster. And somebody, that's just how it's going to be. Yeah. All right. Terry says, Terry Escos has that lit. Will Blake Snell throw a no-hitter for the Dodgers?
No, because it's really hard. Kershaw has one. Like,
it's hard.
It's really hard to do that. And a lot of times you see like random guys throw them and not like the ace of the staff. So I think the safe answer is no. It wouldn't shock me if he got one, but yeah, I'm going to bet the under on one.
Yeah, I'm going to go with you there. Let's see here. Morgan says, has there been any explanation as to why the Dodgers decided to do the ring ceremony the second home game as opposed to the opener?
No, but it's probably related to them thinking they can get more fans to attend and get more money.
Yeah, for sure. This is a good question. Nomo says, who's a bigger threat to the Dodgers, Arizona or Atlanta? It's a very good debate.
I'll say Atlanta, but I'm not confident in it. I think it's closer to a coin flip than anything. I think you could probably throw the Mets into there as well. Like those 3 teams, probably all around a 33% chance to beat the Dodgers and be a threat to them. Like I keep saying, and I'll say it till the end of the season, the Dodgers' biggest threat is themselves and the injuries. If they play good baseball and stay healthy, there's no team that's going to be a real threat to them.
Let's see. Arizona. It's Arizona. I'm just going to say that. I understand the peak of the Atlanta Braves and what they can be. I get it. I'm going to say Arizona. I need to see the Braves have a full turnaround because they had so many injuries last year. They just fell off a cliff as injuries decimated them. And they looked like a beaten down team. I need to see a team like battle back from that and like, show me they've got their legs, and then we'll have a different conversation here. That's just me, just the most recent thing I've seen with them. And I understand they dealt with a lot of injuries here, but the Dodgers can keep Arizona, pretty down. They've got to go through the wild card there. But as far as like the
if the Diamondbacks had Christian Walker still, I'd change my answer.
I just like the Arizona Diamondbacks pitching staff, man.
It's good.
I like the pitching staff. That's what I like. I like that a lot. And what the Atlanta Braves, you've got, Sale, Ronaldo Lopez, Schwellenbach, who's a dog, and then Grant Holmes, Ian Anderson. So, like what our Arizona Diamondbacks have cooking. I do. I really do. All right. Let's see here. Laura says, who's our bullpen on opening day?
Tanner Scott, Kirby Yates, Anthony Banda, Alex Vesia. Who am I forgetting? Blake Trinan. That's 5. So it'll be 3 more. I'm probably forgetting an obvious one here, doing this off the top of my head. If chat wants to help out and throw some names in. I think Michael Grove makes it as a long reliever with Phillips and Kopech out.
Mm-hmm.
Let me pull up the roster real quick and see who I forgot. There's too many names to keep track of here. I think I said Banda, didn't I?
I forgot Strider with my Braves thing. Sorry about that. Yeah, Strider. I don't know where he's at status-wise. I can't believe I forgot Spencer Strider.
BMR says, I'm not doing my job for me. Yeah, I don't know. I think Dustin May might make it. And then, is that 8? Did I name 8? These are hard to do on the spot. Scott, you do this.
You're good. Laura, I mean, you can kind of look at who's gonna miss time. Honestly, look at who's gonna miss time, and then you can fill it in with whoever's ready and who has options. That's literally it. Just look at who's not going to be available, and then you can see it.
They'll have the expanded rosters too, though. So, are we counting that? Because then you're probably gonna have Knack on it, and maybe Jack Dreyer makes it, or Gallegos. I'll throw him. If I didn't get to 8 on my first attempt, Gallegos, my last name on there.
Yeah. Let's see here. Amrokad says, will there be any prospect trade before opening day? What was the return from the Cubs on Ryan Brazier? That was just cash and a player to be named later.
Yeah, probably cash, but nothing major there. I don't think any prospects will be traded. I think the Dodgers roster is set right now.
I think it's set. I saw people talking in chat, I think before stream, maybe early on, still bringing up the Arenado thing. No more. Just no more. No more. That's significant amount of cash has to move there. Like if Nolan Arenado is going to move, it's going to be going to a team that feels that, I'm not going to say one piece away, because Nolan Arenado, unless barring a big turnaround there, is that a one piece away guy? Maybe, depending on your need there. I've seen people talk about, the Boston Red Sox, if they want to absorb the cash, but the St. Louis Cardinals approach teams. They approach the Dodgers with a package of a restructured contract to make something like that happen. So I'm with Blake. I think that the Dodgers roster is set. Please, no more Nolan Arenado stuff. Don't DM it to me. I've got a bunch of it. Please, please, please. We're good, Nolan. I appreciate you, man.
Give me Mason Wynn, and then I'll take Nolan Arenado back.
Mason Wynn firing 105-mile-an-hour throws from short to first base. Yeah. You will not see any Nolan Arenado to the Dodgers propaganda put up by us. That's just not happening. We know ball. We're not. It's just not happening. Ball knowers know it. It's not happening. No. All right. Let's see here. NS says, house construction going at Dodger Stadium. Will they be ready? I'd imagine that there's no possible way they won't be ready. I hope it's going great, because that construction absolutely obliterated Dodger Fest and made it an absolute catastrophe. So NS, I hope for everybody's sake, and the beauty of Dodger Stadium that it's all good to go.
Yeah, at the Kirby Yates press conference, we talked a little about this with some Dodger officials, and they said, yeah, it's going to be ready. At least that's what the construction company is telling them. And I believe the field was supposed to go on like a week ago now or something like that. So, yeah.
Let's see. Oh, my God. Aaron says if the Angels DFA Rendon, the Dodgers sign him. No, he's hurt. He's LA lifestyle is not for him. He just likes sitting on the couch. Sorry that he's hurt. Don't like seeing players hurt, but not happening. That's funny though, Aaron. Appreciate you, man. Shout out to the 1200. Thanks for hanging out tonight and just listen to Blake and I yap. Appreciate you. Just getting ramped up for spring training. There's a lot to like cover. There's a lot of mini storylines. Just a matter of like picking out the ones that are worthy of talking about. And I'm very happy that the Chris Taylor stuff has kind of died down here. But I do see a question. It says, is Taylor getting traded?
No, it would have happened if he was.
Yeah. Caesar, it's just not happening. Like a lot of people feel, Blake brought it up earlier. Chris Taylor catches a lot of strays there. The contract that he's making, how much he means to the organization, still the hope of a turnaround, and a turnaround is just being, slightly below league average, just like his projections have. Like, what'd you say, 96 WRC plus from Chris Taylor? And I still think that's lofty, Blake. I really do. I think that's a lofty projection for Chris Taylor, man.
It probably is. I mean, he showed some life in September and then a little into the playoffs there. And then he made some more swing changes and worked on things this offseason. So I can't totally rule out like a slight bounce back, even if he's just a little below league average. That would be great. But yeah, I'm not holding out a ton of hope there. It's just he's going to be on the roster because he can play every position and the Dodgers like him.
BC is making some predictions on his OPS plus. BC says that he had Chris Taylor had a 73 OPS plus last year. This year, he said it's going to be a 50.
I'll take
over under 65 OPS plus for Chris Taylor.
I'm going to take the over. I think it would be really hard for him to be worse than he was last year. And yeah I don't know. If he's doing a 50 OPS plus, he's not going to be on the Dodgers for long.
He won't be there. Yep. Everybody's saying over. That's easy money. Place the bet at blakewilliams@gmail.com. Don't actually do that, but yeah, I'll take the over on that. Let's see. What do we got?
We have a few about the rotation. So
yeah,
will Roki be in the starting rotation? Who's going to be the sixth starter? And what's your rotation? To start, yes, Roki will be in the rotation. He's expected to start as one of their two starters in Japan. So then you're going to have Snell, Glasnow, Yamamoto, Sasaki, Gonsolin, and May probably are my six there. Those are the healthy guys, the favorites. If someone gets hurt, then you probably throw like Landon Knack into that mix and go from there.
Yeah.
Although, can't rule out Bobby Miller. Just saying it.
Cole wants to know, does Buehler punch Bregman in the face, or will they be buddies?
Yes. Both of those things can happen.
The answer is yes. I think he'll be fine. And people don't want to say it, but I'm going to say they're going to be buddies. They're all going to be cool. They're going to be cool. Buehler will probably catch him, but they'll be fine. They'll be fine. And that's not, somebody's going to clip that and send it to Jeff, Astros fan Scott isn't going to say the worst things, but guys, we're talking about 2 World Series titles later. 8 years. Blake can't comment on this. We're changing the subject. I'm not letting him bring it up, but it's a lot. It's a little bit of a time. There's many seasons in between 2017 so far. Let's see. Nomo Splitter says, which AL team would you be most interested in seeing the Dodgers face in the World Series?
The Orioles, I think, would be fun. I like a lot of their players. Big Gunnar Henderson guy, for everyone who knows me, and Colton Cowser, 2 nerds who are always building Legos and watching Star Wars. So big fan of them. I think the Royals would be fun. See Bobby Witt and playing in Kauffman Stadium would be fun. It's a nice stadium. Yeah, we saw the Yankees now. We've seen the Red Sox. Those would probably be my top if we didn't see them. So we'll go with some of the underdog teams more so.
Can I have yes, I agree. Red Sox would be great just because they just somehow Alex Cora, I'd like to get back there. Their offense somehow is always competitive. I'd like to make that happen there. And everybody knows me. I told you before, 04 Sox have a special place for me, brought me closer into baseball. But I'm gonna say the Texas Rangers. Just so I can watch you squirm, Blake. I can watch you squirm when Corey Seager steps up to the plate, man. Knowing that a part of you is like, please hit a majestic homer, and then the score will be 11-1 in favor of the Dodgers. Like, just so I can see that.
Corey Seager hits huge homer to cut the lead.
Cut the lead to 7. Yeah. But yeah, that's good. Also, if somehow the Mariners found a way just to be that sneaky team, if they went on like an Arizona Diamondbacks type of run through the postseason, that's like a pitching staff I would love to see and like to see the Dodgers offense go up against that. But yeah, just like Cole said, we're going to put this up here again. The American League weak, Blake?
Yes.
We saw this last year at the All-Star break, didn't we? We were talking about it the whole time. We were looking around like nobody's separating. No team looks top to bottom insanely dominant. Just didn't happen.
Yeah, the NL has a lot of the talented teams this year. Like, I'd probably put at least 3 or 4 NL teams before I'd list an AL team if I was doing like a full MLB rankings. Yeah, I don't think the AL is all that great.
Yeah. Man. All right. Let's see. What else do we got here? I know Eden was talking about something, but you want to answer that? You answer this one, right? Tony Gonsolin, the 5th guy. This one here. Yeah. Okay. Iris wants to know: can Blake cook? I mean, food.
I can make a grilled cheese.
Crazy.
Yeah, I'm not good at cooking. Not my specialty.
Yeah. Scott can cook. I can cook, man. Yeah. I'm always in the kitchen. Let's see here. Blake, you want to tell the chat how you are now like a big time sports card collector again?
I wouldn't say big time. We've just been having some fun in our group chat with collecting some cards here and there. No, you have made the most expensive purchase, so
I have made the most expensive purchase. Correct. That is absolutely correct. I am guilty. Yes. I thought you weren't going to bring that up. We talked about that.
Did we?
We're not supposed to bring. Yeah.
I don't know. Well,
we're back.
We're still back. One of one is coming to my house.
All this up here. All this up here. All cards. Yeah, we're Nora. My daughter. That's kind of our thing, Blake. That's the coolest thing. Nora's all about it. We'll open some packs. She'll read off the names and she knows ball. Gets all excited on them. Yeah. Local card shop here in Simi. I want to shout them out. I got to pull up the name of it though, but they gave her a bunch of free stuff today. That was awesome. Gave her a bunch of free stuff, free packs. That's new 2025 Topps packs, top loader baseball sleeves. It was cool, man. And the guy goes, "What's your favorite player?" And she said Freddie Freeman. He gave her like 4 or 5 Topps Chrome Freddie Freeman cards. It was sick. That was awesome stuff here. Let me see.
So you don't want to talk about Derrick Henry, though?
I'll talk about it. I just got to bring up the card thing here. I got to shout them out real fast. It doesn't matter, but what's your most prized baseball card, Blake?
I have no idea. I don't know. I have more football and Star Wars cards. I have a lot of baseball cards in a bin out in the garage. I don't remember many of them. Oh, I think when Topps now they do like their limited release sets, they had one of Tony Gonsolin with a bunch of cats, and I got that one. So that one's really cool. I like that one.
Shout out to Simi Sports Cards. I know one of the dudes follows me. He said he'd be tuning in some days, but shout out to Simi Sports Cards. If you don't know about them, I know no free shout out. I'll probably get blasted by admin about this, but awesome card shop there. Insane display. Great people, man. They're locked in. So stop in when you're in Simi. The most prized baseball card I have, I have one that I need to get graded. It is a Barry Bonds and Ken Griffey Jr. side by side. I need to get that graded. It's an early 90s card, man. And I need to get that graded. So that's a pretty good one. The football one that I just purchased is like a 1/1 Derrick Henry 2021 auto. I don't want to say how much I spent on it, but I don't want to say how much I spent on it. I spent a lot, but it's a great card. I'm glad the sports cards are making a big comeback. It's a cool thing. That was a big part of my childhood. Yeah. All right. Everybody, I think everybody's good. I think everybody's good with questions. Let's see. NS wants to know if you'll eat a live octopus, Blake, when you're in Japan.
No.
All right.
That's
You heard it here. All right. Chat, we appreciate you. Thank you so much for tuning in tonight. Thank you. Nomo says, do you recommend I just buy the card I want instead of just opening packs? I mean, it kind of all depends. Like opening packs is great. Like I would for sure like look at if you're just looking at it like expanding your collection, definitely just like buy a couple like blaster boxes or a hobby box if you just want like to start your collection there. But if you just like the cards for your personal thing, just go buy the cards itself. For sure, just do that. Like that's the flat out way I recommend it. Yeah. If you're trying to build a collection, buy like singles and then go from there. But if you just like a card, buy the card. And it's everywhere. Cool. All right, chat. We appreciate you. Blake and I are going to get out of here. Last word, Blake.
Last word. You did this to me again, huh? I saw someone ask about what kind of grilled cheese I make, what kind of cheese I use, whatever we have in the house. Nothing specific.
Crazy, man. All right. Chat, I appreciate you. As always, man. I mean, you're the best. It's always a fun time Thursday nights. We'll talk to you soon. Hopefully next week. We're going to try to get something in here before Blake heads off to Arizona or, work out something there. But keep tabs on it. We're churning out a lot of stuff here at Dodger Blue, keeping you updated on all things spring training. Stuff's going to get ramped up. Don't forget, like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. We'll talk to you soon, guys. And as always, I know somebody wants me to say it, 2024 World Series champs. Hopefully they run this back. We'll talk to you soon. We'll see you. Go Dodgers.